Due to the nature of strong language in today's episode, viewer discretion is advised. Today on Blissfully Tea Drunk With. Welcome. My name is Cody. I'm also known as the Oolong Drunk, and welcome to the fifth and final season of Blissfully Tea Drunk With. So to my right, we have Casey, who's also known on Instagram as I Thought I Knew Tea, but boy was I wrong. And Casey today is our musical resident for today's episode, and Casey is a master at the banjo. So let's introduce Casey. Hello.
Hey, Cody. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for playing the theme song. It's such an honor to have you on. So I don't think many people know this who know you through the tea stuff on Instagram, but you're actually incredible at playing the banjo. It's what you do for a living.
It is. Yeah, I'm a banjo player and banjo teacher mainly these days.
That's incredible. So given that you're a master at the banjo, I just have like maybe a little small request. So I thought you did a great job. You got the melody just right for the theme song. But can we try it one more time? Maybe it sounded like a little like old school. Maybe we try and like make it sound a little bit more modern, because we're into the future. It's the last season post COVID. Let's go ahead and try and can we just try this one more time, but a little bit more modern sounding, more like upbeat?
Sure.
Okay, great. Okay, Casey, that was great. I thought that sounded great. But maybe let's try it again. If you're okay, if we can try it just maybe one more time, just to make sure we get the take right. Maybe we try it like less Loretta Lynn country, because that's sad. Loretta Lynn was just sad. Maybe we try like more modern country, like Casey Musgraves. Maybe we try something like that. Can we try? Just try one more time.
Okay.
Let me think of the best way to word this. So that was also great, but maybe we try it. Let's just try it one more time, one final time. But maybe I think I know what the thing is. I think it sounds too much like the banjo. Maybe we try something that's a little bit more modern. Maybe we take a little bit of the banjo out of the banjo to make it sound more modern. Can we try it that way?
You want the banjo out of the banjo.
Well, yeah, because like the banjo is like an instrument, but like we doesn't have to sound exactly like the banjo. Maybe we can make it sound a little less like the banjo and take some of the banjo out of it. But we'll try. Well, can we try it one more time?
Sure. Yeah. No problem. How's that?
That was great. Maybe let's just move on to the panel. So let's go ahead and move on to the panel. I think that was great. Maybe we'll just try this some other time. Let's go ahead and move on to the panel. So let's go ahead and move on. Okay, voiceover, Cody. This is when you can do the transition in the editor. Let's go ahead and transition over. Let's go. Let's try it another time. On today's panel, for how the recording is on my end, on my right is Dart. He is Tao of Teaware. He does Teaware in North Carolina. Below me is Annie, who runs Volition Tea in Chicago, and she's been making incredible headway there. And next to her is Olivia of Twirl Milk Tea. And this is today's panel. Hi, everyone. How are you guys?
Great.
Hey, how are you?
Doing
Living the
fantastic.
dream, drinking tea.
Well, so I really find it interesting, Dart. So I really wanted to say I find because you're in North Carolina, and a lot of people don't have a lot of association with North Carolina, but did you know North Carolina was the first state in the Union to petition taxes against King George, which led to the American Revolution? Isn't that not crazy?
Man, I knew I was in a good place. I knew it.
But also, you guys produce Luke Combs, and not all good outweighs the bad. So so you guys need to find a new way to start. I'm sorry, but you gave us freedom, and somehow we ended up with Luke Combs. There's something North Carolina we need to figure out here.
This is some good tea.
So Annie, you're Volition Tea, and you're in Chicago.
I am.
And you've been working on a lot of exciting projects in Chicago. Like you've been drinking gin with tea, or you've been infusing gin with your aging
Be
tea in a
careful with an
barrel.
alcohol advertisement.
We're going to do a fun little experiment later, but Olivia, you're over in California, you're twirl milk tea, and I'm really glad that you're doing pea milk because that's something that a lot of people don't know. So I want to ask my first question to you. So California is known for all like the cool health trends, like the Weight Watchers and like the grapefruit diet. Then we had kale, quinoa, avocado toast. So is pea milk like the forefront of the new food trend, and are you leading it?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. So we get that asked all the time, what type of peas? And I like to clarify it's yellow peas, and peas are leading the change in terms of kind of what's popular. The reason is it's considered a regenerative crop. So it's a big trend within Whole Foods. So regenerative crop just means that it doesn't leach from the soils. It actually puts nutrients back into the soils. We love the little yellow pea because it doesn't use a lot of water, it doesn't produce a lot of carbon emissions, and it's neutral in taste. All our drinks are 1 gram of protein. So you might kind of make fun of it. It sounds like the pea, are you peeing? But we're actually thinking is we're just full of joy for the little pea.
And speaking of something that's like regenerative, I want to talk to you about the watermelon milkshake from Cookout, Dart, because I got their recipe here.
Yeah, Cookout is an absolute banger of a restaurant here in North Carolina. We have one right by UNCW. Amazing food any time of day.
But I got their recipe for their watermelon milkshake because compared to Chick-fil-A's like peach milkshake, it's been underperforming. And there's a lot of controversy surrounding this milkshake every time it comes out in your neck of the woods. It's like, it's a big deal. Then it's like, it's not good. Now there's reaction videos to it. So I got the recipe, the actual recipe here, and I made it a while ago. So I thought I would try it on the show to give you my opinion.
All right, let's see it. Yeah, so just so everyone knows, if you're not from North Carolina or haven't been here, so Cookout it's a budget-friendly grill food option. They have corn dogs, BLTs, burgers. People say they're known for their burgers, but I mean, it's just like budget food of really any kind off a grill.
So if I were to give an official opinion, I think whatever Bojangles does with their drinks is a lot better than Cookout. I'm just saying.
Bro,
I don't know about what this is going on here.
Slaps. Bojangles is like Bojangles fries. Like I don't really care about their chicken, but their fries, show me some better fries in the rest of the US in a chain restaurant. I don't think you can.
But also there's another notable figure. So a lot of famous people come from North Carolina, and I heard that a state favorite is Virginia Fox. So how did she make it to the top rung of North Carolina society, and why is she so popular among so many people there?
I don't know, man. I'm not from North Carolina. I just moved here after we came back from China. So I'm not like super well versed in like everything famous, just kind of like what I see on a day-to-day, modern life here in the North Kakalaki.
What? Did he just speak English?
What's that?
So Annie, back to Volition Tea. So yeah, Chicago, a lot of people wouldn't know, but Chicago is like the second largest city behind New York, and there for a while it was in the running for being the new New York. But Oprah Winfrey got to Chicago, and the rest was history. So the fact that there's not like a Broadway scene in Chicago because we have Oprah Winfrey Studios, would you say that Oprah Winfrey is the reason why Chicago is not the new New York, or like what's going on there? Like it came so close.
Midwesterners are way too nice to ever be the new New York.
So then if we had a new New York and we would have it the old Chicago, then new New York would be the replacement for just New York. So New England would have to rebrand.
That might not be a bad idea.
So Olivia, you guys, if I remember correctly, you guys are in San Francisco, and San Francisco is such an interesting city because I went there once and it was just fascinating because you have like people like crapping on the sidewalk in front of like multi-billion-dollar neighborhoods, and you can't do anything about it because like San Francisco will send their homeless to like further to all the other cities until they reach Los Angeles, and Los Angeles will send them back all the way up to San Francisco. And then they will then send all the homeless out to the rest of the cities around the country. So why does California assume to not deal with the problem and send it to everyone else?
I think California is definitely facing a crisis. I would say San Francisco, but I think that there's a lot of things happening that the city is trying to do. So, I still love San Francisco. It's still a beautiful city. There's a very vibrant San Francisco Chinatown. There's a lot of us that are really trying to kind of put back and give back to that community. So we've partnered with Jane the Bakery, which is a local women-owned bakery. She actually created a little storefront called Jane on Grant because it's on Grant Street. So our drinks are sold there. And I have a really good friend, Mike, who's actually been doing a lot of revitalization of Chinatown. So I would say there's a lot of us in the community that are still behind our city and our state, and doing what we can, from the small business perspective, just helping each other out. So I would say, don't give up on us. I think it's still a beautiful city, and fall is a great time to come.
Let's go.
Let's
go, Olivia.
That's right.
So moving on, I want to ask you, Dar, you're my next question. So
Sure.
So there's always that fun personality who makes things interesting in the world of tea. And when I first saw you, I just couldn't think that I almost for a second thought if Michael from Vsauce had hair. That's you. So can we ask you to come out of frame and then pop out of frame and say, hey, Michael here, Vsauce. Can we do that?
Oh no.
See, Michael from Vsauce didn't quite do that. Michael from Vsauce wasn't even purple light. Okay, yes, fair.
I'm not. Am I out? Am I out yet?
You're
No,
out.
but you're straight, so you can't be out. But you can go ahead and go.
Hey, I'm Michael from Vsauce.
Hey, Michael. Oh wait, you're still
Hey, Cody.
Dark.
Hi.
Hi. So speaking of North Carolina, I saw that there's a massive problem in North Carolina right now with gerrymandering. And I think it's such a confusing name. So you see the word gerrymandering, it almost sounds like something you should celebrate. But really, it's not. It's an awful thing. It's the way, so they're saying that there's not a lot of great representation in North Carolina that's representative of the people who live there.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of people there drink tea. And you drink tea. But there should be more tea drinkers because tea is amazing. So how can we make sure that more tea people are represented in North Carolina by spreading the love of tea? How do we turn North Carolina on from Bojangles to tea? How do we make that?
So there's a lot to unpack there. So first of all, I think the actual gerrymandering is a real issue, and underrepresented populations shouldn't be made too jovial of. But to bringing more tea culture, I think anything, it has to come from a place of authenticity, but then also just community. And I think that, like Olivia talked about in San Francisco, it's local businesses building local cultures up, and those people supporting those local businesses that can help to develop a positive sense of community and turn something that was negative into something that was positive. And so I think a large part of the reason that people don't really there's not a huge tea culture other than Bojangles sweet tea, is because people haven't had that experience. And I think we can all agree that, Gongfu style tea, it's about creating an experience for people, whether there's expectations or not. And oftentimes the best tea, there's no expectations when you show up. Just drink some tea.
Exactly. I really wish more people would understand that, because I was at a tea meetup and I brought tea to it and they're like, oh, that's not real tea. It's I know it's coffee, but I brewed it and cold brewed it like tea, but that created another. And I tried to argue it and we couldn't even drink it. And I'm like, man, you guys gatekeep everything.
Ding dong.
Do you guys hear that? Oh, that's the sound of our talk show, game show called Steeped in Nepotism. Alrighty, so here on the 5th season of Blissfully Tea Drunk With, I don't know if you guys are aware, if you've seen any of the episodes yet, which you probably couldn't have because this is all pre-recorded, but this is on our talk show. We play an talk show game show where I list 3 facts that will either describe someone who's a tea professional or someone who's an indie pop star. And after I give these 3 facts, you guys have to deliberate among each other, and after 60 seconds have to tell me, am I describing someone who's benefited from nepotism in the tea industry or the indie pop star scene? So I'm going to get 60 seconds on the clock. And then also you get a bonus point if you can actually name the person that I'm describing outside of if they're in tea or indie pop music. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
I got the timer
Ready.
set for 1 minute, so we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So the first fact about this industry person is they have two people who are in the industry. They were born in London, and they are both popular in America and England.
Mayleaf.
So is this a British tea person, or is this a British tea person, American tea person? Is this a indie pop star? Who could it be? Guys, want to talk it out? You guys have 30 seconds left.
A tea professional.
Yeah, my guess is tea professional Don and Celine from Mayleaf.
I'm just gonna go with the majority, and I'm just gonna let Dart lead us on this. All on you, Dart.
So
Do we get
explain
more?
the logic? You have 15 seconds left. You want to explain the logic?
I mean, you said they're popular in both the UK and America. Obviously, you could have also been pointing to a pop star because it's a very vague description. Do we get another question or no? Can we get another
So
hint?
we
Or
only
no?
have 3, 2, 1. That is it. So whenever we play this game show, we only give 3 clues. So unfortunately, you guys, the answer is not a tea industry professional. It's actually an indie pop star. Darn. So I'll go and give the answer. So Lily Allen is a indie pop star who's popular in North America and London. Both of her parents were in the industry, Alison Owen and Keith Allen. She's born in England and is popular in both countries. Darn, but it could have been anybody from the tea, world of tea. I mean, just to think either one of the industries can't really flourish without a lot of nepotism. So I'm just... So that
I
brings
totally
me to...
forgot. I totally forgot the name of this segment. I'm sorry, Don and Celine. Don't hold me hostage, please.
They're in next week's episode. I'll ask them.
Oh, great.
I'm kidding. So I want to take a little break from today's talk show and give a shout out to today's sponsor, which is Volition Tea. Volition Tea is a tea company out of Chicago, Illinois, and is also ran by one of the coolest people I have ever met in tea, Annie. Annie is very forward about transparency and also making sure that the farmer benefits as well. Oh, and do you see this white tea here called Koval? It's actually her gin-scented white tea, and I actually spent all of her sponsorship money by buying this tea from her. So Annie, if you're listening, I ran completely out 3 weeks ago, and I think you should release more. To add, Annie has been such a friend of the talk show. She not only appeared in last season, she appeared in the 3rd season as well, back when it was on Instagram Live. I initially met Annie about a year into her tea journey, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm so glad that Annie and I have had such a great relationship because I truly believe in her tea company and want it to do well. I'm not just saying this because of the sponsorship, I mean it when I say that Annie's teas are truly incredible. It is truly an honor to have this episode sponsored by you. Thank you, Annie. So, Annie, you have a child, right?
Yes, I do.
Your child, he was actually made an appearance on the talk show before, but what high-ranking executive position do you plan on giving him once he's of age?
Let's start him at the lowest.
There you
he
go.
knows how it goes. Let's
There you
start
go,
him
there you
with a packing position.
Smart business owner.
So I want to say, earlier this year, you worked on this project this past summer called Koval. It's what I mentioned earlier in the episode. It's a gin infused, well, not gin infused. It's a tea that was aged in a gin barrel, and you landed on white tea. So I tried to take the label out, so I didn't get permission to use it, but I also have a bottle of gin. So I thought we could do a quick comparison of gin scented tea and actual gin. So we have white tea, and what made you land on white tea? Because it's a great tea. I thought it was perfect.
So is it crunchy?
What, Annie?
Here we now we're gonna compare it to the gin that I have here.
I
Annie,
love that.
Annie, what did you use? Did you guys use Chomay? Did you use green or brown, or did you use a different picking?
Oh,
What
we
did you
use
for the
this
next?
with that. So it's
That is strong. Whoa. I would say the white tea tasted.
impressive, Cody.
I would say the white tea tasted great in comparison. Next time I think it'd be great to brew the gin and the gin scented tea. I think that would double down on just the everything that goes with it. I thought that was incredible.
And I would name it specifically Cody for that team.
So, Dart, earlier in the year during the pandemic, sorry, I'm trying to catch my breath here. There was a lot of issues with Asian hate in this country. So why was there a lot of hating Asians? Asian Americans? And I can't ask anyone else on the panel that, because that's considered racially profiling, and racially profiling is racist, and I'm not a racist. So I'm going to ask you this question.
So this is another really serious issue, and it's not something that honestly, and I'm actually kind of glad you brought it up, because this isn't something you'll ever hear me talk about from our brand. But for me personally, a big reason for starting Tao Teawear, and not being, I mean, obviously I can't control what I was born, but like, this is a mainly Chinese cultural heritage that I'm sharing with people in the West. And I think that the big reason that we have a lot of these problems is from misunderstandings and really lack of information on Asia and Asian culture. My whole time in China, I was venerated as an American just for being American. And coming home, hearing that, you know, how people were treated who were Asian during COVID, while I was enjoying the luxuries of living an amazing life in China, is really something that was, it's quite just heartbreaking, that we're so quick to judge when I was so warmly accepted as a foreigner in China. So I think it really just stems from a lack of understanding and exposure to Asian culture in general, and more specifically, and even further, Chinese culture in general. And so that's one of the things that I hope people kind of get through osmosis with drinking tea and, you know, buying teaware from us, is this kind of experience that comes from, like, you can't take the essence of tea and Chinese style tea without getting a glimpse into that culture, without getting just a piece. So I think it starts with understanding, and came from a misunderstanding and lack of information.
So I want to continue this on to Olivia, because Olivia, you're in San Francisco, and San Francisco actually did pass a law stating that they would give reparations, $5 million per Black American in San Francisco for a lot of the history of Black Americans. But something that strikes me as interesting in San Francisco is, while it does have one of the most famous Chinatowns in the whole world, it's an incredible part of San Francisco. A lot of the ways that we treated Asian Americans post-World War II was just astronomical, and it's something that our country has swept under the rug and that most people don't know about. How can we better support Asian Americans, especially in San Francisco? Because, I mean, if we were going to say we need to delegate $5 million to any individuals, not that we need to pick and choose, but there are so many more people who are done just as wrong, and while in California even.
Well, I think the number one thing we can do, not just for San Francisco, but for all Asian American Chinatowns across the US, I think there's ones in Chicago, every town, actually a lot of them have Chinatown restaurants or Chinese restaurants. So I would say, first and foremost, you know, the number one place that most people go for Thanksgiving is a Chinese restaurant, actually. And so when you think about all the places that are closed on Thanksgiving, there are a lot of Chinese restaurants that are actually open. So kind of people taking a stock of kind of our own holidays and the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, is realize that people that are Chinese Americans, Asian Americans, they actually do play a big part of our cultural society, and how our views of food and beverage are kind of all integrated together. I think culture is a huge part of all of our lives. We're a lot of us are children, daughters and sons of immigrants. And so I think that common thread is in all of us. So just kind of taking stock of that and thinking, okay, we're actually all not all that different. We just happen to have different ethnicities and cultural things, but we're at the core of it. We're all daughters, we're all sons, we're all somebody's child. And so I think kind of looking at that, and then just being open-minded to trying new foods and looking at the foods that are in your pantry or in your refrigerator. I think Pauline and I talk a lot about that. where when I was growing up, I didn't really know who was behind the brands that were on that I, tried. I grew up on like wanting Wonder Bread or like Skippy peanut butter, things that I saw on TV. But in reality, the founders, those people didn't look anything like myself. And so Paulina really, really adamant about that, we grew up drinking milk tea. We grew up having this a big part of our own culture. And so wanting to be able to authentically share that experience kind of on a broader scale. So I think those are the things that I encourage people to, lean into is be open-minded, but also learn about who's behind the products that you're consuming and seeing on an everyday basis.
That's such a beautiful answer. Thank you.
I would love to add on that if we have time.
We do have
too.
time. After that, I have 2 questions before we're out of time to ask and lighten the mood. So I want to end on a lighthearted note. So if y'all want to give a few seconds to comment back to that.
Yeah, I wanted to, everything that you all have said are super valid and I wholeheartedly support. But I also think that a big part of why the Asian community hasn't been fairly compensated, hasn't been, properly recognized for all the trauma that our prior generations have endured is because of a lack of representation in the political world. We always grew up being told that we have to be neutral, we have to be the model minority and not making a fuss, not to complain, and not to stick out. But I think that the newer generation is realizing that can no longer be the way that we need to spearhead. That a lot of people are being encouraged and a lot of people are entering into the political platform now, trying to advocate for ourselves. Because if you don't advocate for yourselves, then nobody will do that for you.
Right. And I see that, with the food and beverage, I see that with media. I see a lot of us are stepping out. I think in the past, if we had started this brand like 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't even know who was behind Toro Milk Tea. But because of how the dynamics are right now, like we're almost like forced to become the face of the brands, be much more visible. My co-founder Pauline is actually introverted. I'm half introverted, but we've actually kind of just had to like peel those shells out and just be like, all right, Instagram, all right, TikTok, let's embrace you. And so those are the things that we've had to do.
After listening to the struggles of Annie and Olivia being Asian American here, I felt really bad that they've had to go through what they've had to go through. And wanting to honor the Asian American community, I decided to release a tea cake pressing of my own and then went to John of Lantern Coffee Shop in Grand Rapids, Michigan to pitch the idea of releasing the tea cake with me. So, John, we met in Chicago for the season 4 finale of the talk show. And I didn't realize this, but you're the owner of a coffee shop in Grand Rapids. Is that right?
Yeah, so I co-own Lantern Coffee Bar and Lounge in Grand Rapids. We just celebrated 10 years. And I just took over some ownership last December, like right when we met, was right when I was getting all of that sorted out.
So as you saw on the panel earlier, I just felt really bad for some of the struggles that some of our Asian American allies have had to go through in our country. They shouldn't have had to go through a lot of the hardships that they go through. So I want to partner with the company. I want to pitch to you that we do a tea cake pressing together to pay tribute to the Asian American community here in our country. And I want to see what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I mean, Lantern as business, even since, our very beginning, we've been as inclusive and uplifting of, those voices unheard as best we can. And I feel like we don't see a lot of that. And the opportunity to be able to uplift those voices is awesome.
Perfect. Well, I guess the first thing we need to do is source a tea. I've already started this project a little bit ago. I already have several. So let me send you a couple of things and we can test them out and we can narrow down which tea we want to press and release together.
Yeah, that sounds great. Just let me know.
After a week of sampling teas, I sent John a few samples to see if there was something that we could agree on together. So out of the 3 samples that I sent you for the tea cake pressing, I really think this Linseng white tea, I think this is one of the better ones. And this is the one that I'm leaning towards. What are your thoughts on the samples I sent you?
This one's really great. It's really light, definitely like super floral, really clean tasting. I think this one's really good.
Okay, that is just amazing. That is phenomenal. That's when John and I decided that this tea cake here was a winner, and this is what we're going to move forward with. I say we do 10 kilograms of pressed tea cakes. I think that's a good number. I think that's like the standard.
For sure. Oh, yeah.
We'll order the tea cakes, and we'll have them sent to you because they're going to be sold in Lantern Coffee Shop. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Now that we've narrowed down on a tea that fits the bill, so I was thinking for the tea cake wrapper design, I would design the wrapper itself because I want my vision for this culture to come to fruition because I love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like, I think that's a super great idea. But alternatively, like, I do think someone from that minority group should be involved in the cake wrapper design process to better represent that ethnicity.
Nah, Cody, you and I are friends. Wrong minority. It doesn't work that way.
Wrong minority. Like, I don't see color. Everyone is equally the same to me.
Cody, how about I consult some of my friends who are actually Asian and we can see what comes out of that.
Just make sure that when you talk to them that they're honoring the vision I have for wanting to make sure that they're being represented in the way that I want to represent them. Make sure that they're being honored.
I'll help you out, but on my friends' terms who are actually Asian. How about that?
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and see what they come up with. I trust your judgment on this. You're the artist here.
Yeah. Wrong minority again.
After several weeks of waiting, Dion finally got back to me and we decided to meet up to talk about the wrapper design.
Hey, Cody. I have the design back from my friend who is understanding of Asian culture because they're actually Asian. And I sent the design to your email. Why don't you check it out?
Yeah, let me look. Oh my gosh. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness. I've never seen a tea cake wrapper be this beautiful. Oh my goodness. I don't think anything like this exists out there anywhere in the market. This is phenomenal. This was great. I really appreciate you doing this for me. This was fantastic. The fact that you found another artist to represent the way that I think they should be represented is amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, don't ask me to do this again. Okay?
Alrighty, so I was able to connect with my friend Dee, and she has Asian American friends that designed the wrapper. So I went ahead and emailed that to you, and I have to get your thoughts. This is like one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
Yeah, let me pull it up really quick. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. That looks really good.
And I know that for me, how I would represent that culture, this is exactly how I would do it. And the fact that her Asian American friend saw my vision, I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
Like, they saw my vision for them, and that is incredible.
Yeah, I can see that.
If you're okay with it, I'll go ahead and forward it to the I'll go ahead and forward it on to the factory so that way they can get this wrapped and they can go ahead and finish pressing the tea cakes, and we'll go ahead and move forward. After sending the wrapper design to the factory and after almost 4 months of waiting, especially due to international shipping, John finally received the 10 kilograms of tea.
All right, box is here.
You got the tea?
I got the tea.
Excellent.
I figured we should, have a video call while I open it. So 1 second, let me grab it out.
This is phenomenal. I can't believe it got there. Our first call was like so long ago. I can't believe this it's finally coming to the surface. And after all the hard work I put into this.
The fuck is this? What is this?
It's the tea cake. Open it. What is it?
What the hell is this? What did I just pay all this money for? Why are you eating a cheeseburger?
That's my Tinder dating profile photo. Why is that on?
This is not the picture that we agreed on.
Last minute, I sent the wrong photo to the factory, and that's what they...
How am I supposed to sell 75 cakes of this? You'll be getting a package in the mail soon with an invoice, because you're going to be stuck with 75 cakes of this and the bill to repay me for all of this. Because there's no way I can sell 75 cakes of you eating a cheeseburger.
I'm looking at the emails and I could see how this mistake could have happened. The photo of the tea cake design we had together was next to that photo and uploaded it by accident. Like this could have happened to anybody.
Not me. I don't actually care. We're done. You can find another company to make a cake with and make your racist tea wrapper with, as far as I'm concerned. So I think we're good.
It took several weeks to receive the tea in the mail, along with John's invoice. Then I learned that it wasn't right for me to culturally appropriate Chinese tea culture, and if I wanted to make Chinese tea culture my culture, and do it in a way that the entire tea industry will purposefully ignore and willfully look the other way, then I'll have to do what every single straight white guy from the tea industry from North America does. I'll have to marry an Asian woman from China. Next week on Blissfully Tea Drunk With. But I have to say, don't you think the Crown needs a new slogan from God Save the Queen? Because, obviously, if he did, she would still be alive right now.
Been working with another blogger